Imagine standing at the edge of the world, where Europe ends and Asia begins. The year is 1500. The air is thick with the scent of salt, roasting lamb, and the heavy perfume of burning frankincense. You are standing in the heart of Constantinople, or, as its new masters are calling it, Constantinople. Just 47 years ago, this was the dying ember of the Roman Empire. Now, under Sultan Bayezid II, it has risen from its own ashes, not as a ghost, but as a titan. To understand the sheer magnitude of this place in 1500, you must forget everything you know about modern borders. If you were to walk down the Maze, the ancient main street, paved with marble that once felt the sandals of Roman legions, you would hear a cacophony that defies translation. You would hear Greek merchants haggling over olive oil, Armenian stonemasons shouting orders, Jewish refugees from Spain speaking Ladino, and Venetian diplomats whispering in Italian. It is a symphony of survival. The official history books tell us 1453 was an end, but here, in the dusty streets, it is clearly a beginning. Look up at the skyline. Dominating the horizon is the Hagia Sophia. For 1,000 years, it was the largest cathedral in Christendom. Now, in 1500, it wears a new identity. A wooden minaret rises from its flank, a finger pointing to the sky. Inside, the mosaics of Christ and the Virgin Mary have not been destroyed. They are merely whitewashed or covered, sleeping beneath the plaster. The building itself serves as a metaphor for the city, a Roman body with an Islamic soul, holding two worlds in its stone lungs. Let's descend into the belly of the beast. By 1500, the Grand Bazaar is the beating heart of the global economy. It is a labyrinth of lead-roofed domes where the sun rarely touches the ground. We are told that the age of exploration is beginning, that Columbus has sailed west. But here, the Silk Road is still very much alive. You would see piles of raw silk from Persia, spices from the Moluccas, and furs from the frozen Ruslands. And amidst this commerce, the city is growing at a staggering rate. The aqueducts of Valens, broken and dry for centuries, are flowing again, repaired by Ottoman engineers who studied Roman blueprints with a reverence that borders on obsession. But perhaps the most fascinating aspect of Constantinople in 1500 is not what is there, but who is coming. The city is becoming a magnet for the intellect. While Europe is deep in the throes of religious wars, refugees are bringing printing presses and astronomical charts to the Golden Horn. There is a story that even Leonardo da Vinci reached out to the Sultan, proposing a bridge across the Bosphorus. And on the street corners, a new phenomenon is appearing: the coffee house. Here, men gather to drink a strange, dark, bitter brew and discuss politics, a habit that would eventually spread to Vienna, Paris, and London, changing the social fabric of the world forever. And then there is the silence. For all the noise of the port, there is a place of absolute, terrifying quiet: the Topkapi Palace. Perched on the Seraglio Point, this is the brain of the empire. Unlike the towering vertical palaces of Europe, Topkapi is a series of low pavilions hidden behind high walls. In 1500, this is the most secretive place on earth, where the Sultan rules from behind a screen. It is a world of shadows, eunuchs, and viziers, representing the ultimate centralization of power, a sharp contrast to the chaotic, vibrant life just outside its gates. Constantinople in this era proves something profound about human resilience. Cities are not just stone and mortar. They are living organisms. The Romans built it, the Byzantines sanctified it, and the Ottomans reinvented it. If you close your eyes and listen to the wind coming off the Bosphorus, you might just hear the echo of that year. A year when a city on the edge of two continents proved that it could survive the end of one world to become the capital of another. History is not a straight line. It is a cycle of rebirth, played out on the streets of a city that refuses to die. Walk down to the Golden Horn, past the merchant ships, and you will find the Tersain, the imperial arsenal. In 1500, this is the anvil upon which a superpower is being forged. While Europe is obsessed with the Atlantic, here, Ottoman cartographers like the legendary Piri Reis are compiling fragments of maps captured from Portuguese and Spanish sailors. It is said that in these very shipyards, the Sultan could order a new fleet to be built in the spring and see it sail by summer. This wasn't just military might, it was an information war. The Ottomans were piecing together a picture of the Americas and the Indian Ocean long before most kings in the West understood the true shape of the globe. Constantinople wasn't just watching the world change, it was drafting the blueprints. But to truly understand the soul of the city, you must step out of the sun and into the steam. By 1500, the city is dotted with hundreds of hammams, the public baths that served as the great equalizers of society. In a time when much of Europe treated bathing with suspicion, here, hygiene was an act of faith and a social necessity. Inside these marble sanctuaries, beneath domes pierced with star-shaped glass to let in shafts of light, the noise of the city fades into the gentle sound of running water. Here, the wealthy merchant and the street porter would sweat side by side. It was in the echo of the hammam that gossip transformed into news, where alliances were formed not with ink and paper, but in the relaxed candor of the steam. It was the city's living room, a place where the rigid hierarchies of the empire momentarily dissolved in the heat. And finally, cast your eyes upon the soldiers patrolling the At Maidana, the ancient hippodrome. You might notice a strange detail on their uniforms, a wooden spoon tucked into their caps. These are the Janissaries, the Sultan's elite shock troops, harvested from Christian families and raised to be the ultimate weapon of the state. In 1500, their loyalty is absolute, but it is bound by a peculiar code of the kitchen. Their officers hold titles like soup cook and water carrier, and their most sacred object is not a flag, but the kazan, the massive copper cooking pot of their regiment. To them, the Sultan is the father who feeds them, and eating his soup is a pledge of allegiance. But this bond is a double-edged sword. In this city, a simple act of overturning that cauldron is the silent, terrifying signal that the army has stopped eating and a rebellion has begun. Click subscribe for more stories.